Welcome to Girlfriend Hour with Dr. Grayson with the series Unbossed and Unbothered, a series where we sit down with women who've walked away from their corporate careers and redefined success on their own term. I'm your host, Dr. Grayson, and today we have a guest. Her name is Khandeece, and I'm going to allow you to tell a little bit about yourself, Khandeece. But first, I want to start off with how you just turned your layoff into a launch pad for building your own marketing agency. I am so proud of you. And I'm gonna let you speak. Go ahead.
Hi, so I'm Khandeece. I was recently laid off from a company that I joined 3 months prior, and it was supposed to be my dream job. But in my heart, I knew that I was meant for something bigger, but I was telling myself that I was okay with this path that I was sort of taking and pursuing and like climbing the corporate ladder, and it was a big title bump. And so I'm like, yeah, this feels like what's right, and everything is gonna like work out, and it's gonna be great. And 3 months later I was laid off. And then I think from there it really just solidified my decision to bet on myself and to really invest my time and my energy into building something that I would have the autonomy over, and I wouldn't be at the mercy of someone else and how they're managing their business or the decisions that they make that could affect me. So that is sort of what led to me ultimately deciding to launch the Retainery, which is a retention marketing agency.
Okay, you go, girl. So tell me a little bit about your background. Can you walk us through your career path and before you stepped into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so I mean, from college, well, I entered college undecided. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I had a really strong interest in psychology and understanding human behavior. So I actually started as a psychology major, which turned into marketing because that's ultimately like understanding how people interact with different products and, making the right messaging that resonates with people to make that purchase. And right out of college, I jumped into my career. I started as a digital marketing specialist. And in that role, it was within a smaller like makeup brand. So they were international. They had a couple placements worldwide, and then it also had like a huge presence in Sally Beauty. And
Ooh,
that job was honestly amazing. I got to touch so many parts of the business as my first job. So I think that really set me up to have a solid foundation to then be able to develop what I wanted my career to look like. And then from there, I went on to work with skincare brands. I worked with DHC, the number one skincare brand in Japan. I worked with NYX Cosmetics, Scentbird, Maven Hair Company. So really, the whole gambit of beauty that you could work with. I touched all categories, and it was primarily digital marketing that I worked, and that was over the span of like 9 years.
oh, wow. Wow. So this gave you the opportunity to meet everybody, right? Is this
Yeah.
what you're telling me? I mean, from international to domestic. I mean, you were meeting people that's in this brand, this beauty brand, just all over, correct?
Yeah, I was. They would actually send me on trips to different trade shows to represent the
Okay.
brand, speak to the brand. So I went to Mexico, I went to Dallas, Chicago, hosted different events. I did some product development, like designing different mascaras, lipsticks. So that was really cool to me because I came up with the names and the shades of products that I saw in store. So that was like for my first job out of college to be able to touch so many things. It was really cool.
That's amazing. Okay, okay. So tell me, from your first job, you were there for 9 years?
No, I was at my first job for maybe 2.5, 3 years.
Okay. And then this last job that made you say, oh, you know what? I'm going into entrepreneurship. I'm going to do my own marketing agency. I mean, you've learned so much. If you think about it, you said that it kind of taught you different areas of the business.
Hmm.
It was preparing you to
Hmm.
start your own business. You didn't know it at the time, but it was preparing you to start your own business. And that is I just say how the law of attraction works. So that's how I look at it. It definitely was preparing you. So when you said, okay, I'm done, I'm going to walk into my own business, what led to this?
So, funny enough, as I was working as sort of the CRM retention manager throughout my career, I would always have people say, like, oh, why don't you just create your own agency and do this for other brands and just like sort of do your own thing? And in my mind, I was like, yeah, that sounds great. But then, like, how do you get clients? And like, how do I manage everything? And all of these different questions that sort of hold you back from wanting to take that leap. And I knew it was something that I wanted to explore and wanted to do, but I just never felt enough faith or like, yeah, faith to jump out and do it on my own. And I would always say, like, if only I didn't have a job to like back me up and like give me that sense of security, then I would sort of be forced into doing this. So you speaking on law of attraction, I think I definitely spoke it into existence, like
Mhm.
laid off and being able to have the space and the time and really a strong reason to really deep dive into entrepreneurship. So yeah.
Okay, okay. Learn something from this job, that
The
previous job.
one yeah, the most recent one, I think what I learned is to believe in yourself and have
Mhm.
audacity,
Okay.
because pretty much anyone can be a founder if they just decide that they are a founder and they're going to do it. Because I have come across a lot of rooms where there are people who may not necessarily be qualified to be
Mhm.
or have the background or the skill set that's
Mhm.
necessary traditionally to
Right.
own a business, but the only thing they do have is the audacity to say, I'm going to do this.
Okay.
And they
So
figure
that
it out. Yeah.
you saying what?
And then they figure it out from there.
Oh,
They're just
right.
this.
So it's really about jumping. It's about the leap of faith. It's even being scared and believing in yourself. Just go ahead and do it, right? Sometimes we sit back and we are our biggest critic. Sometimes we sit back and we think, "Oh, I can't do that," or "How did they do it?" But something you mentioned that really tug at me in so many situations and all the people that I've interviewed is they didn't know, right? They didn't really you sitting in a room with people that you think know everything or are in the top of the game,
Mm,
and you know more than they do. You also have experience. You also can notice, and this just came to the top of my head, you also can notice they hired you because they knew that you had the experience. They didn't need the experience because they knew they had somebody who had the experience. So I'm gonna use you to get where I want to be. And that's sad to say, but that's how a lot of businesses operate. You sit in a boardroom, and one of the women that I interviewed named Michelle, she was like, I'm sitting in a boardroom, and she was the only Black woman in the boardroom, but she also said I knew I had the most knowledge. After leaving the boardroom or after leaving a job, you sit back and you think, and you start questioning yourself on, why did I allow myself to get to that position where I didn't push myself? Or why did I sit in here and give all this information? Because I've researched, I've worked harder. And so it's, I know that the work that we put in, sometimes we have to work harder. We have to get more degrees. Um, Many of us are not born with a silver spoon in our mouth. Many of us are working a job, taking care of a family, and going to school. Even if you're not, even if you're not, if you don't have a family, you're still don't always have the means
mm,
to keep going on, right?
right.
So you keep pushing yourself, and it's like, all I can operate on is faith and hope, right? Faith and hope, faith and hope, you know.
Mhm.
And with that being said, sometimes I look at all of our experiences and know that we have it, we have the knowledge, we have the experience, we actually have the audacity too, you know,
Are
but
you there?
yeah,
Or
but we don't push ourselves sometimes. Sometimes we need a backup, you know, somebody to encourage us. And that's another reason why I created the series Unbossed and Unbothered, because it's important to me that you have that backup. We need to support each other. Not that it's just Black Entrepreneur Month, but it should be Black Entrepreneur, period. You know, we should be supporting one another, and we should also uh, reach down and pull somebody else up. You know, that's important to me. You also mentioned that other people is like, why don't you start your own business? You know, you could do your own marketing business. What made you pause before saying yes, besides um, can I do it? I don't know if I can do it.
the workload, because I knew that, I mean, I'm facing it now. I We
Mhm.
can talk about it as this glamorized thing of me deciding to start this, but there's still a lot of groundwork that goes into building the trust in those initial clients and building that client list and getting your name out there. It is a lot of work, and it sometimes is a lot of work for a while until you start to see the benefits of that come through. And I think when you're in the day to day and you need your bills paid and you need stuff to, be taken care of, it's hard to, if you're in a corporate job, do all of that work and like take care of yourself and then go and like build something as well. I'm not saying it can't be done. And I think that um, it is smart to even do that while you have the security blanket of a job. But it was a lot that I was not ready to take on at once at that specific time in my life.
Okay. So how did you navigate the tug of war? You know, um, what was the moment where you knew like corporate America wasn't going to give you what you needed? So you just got to push.
I knew corporate wasn't for me like years ago. I can't tell you how many notes I have in my phone that is like corporate exit strategy, because
Oh,
I just knew that like this isn't, number one is a Black woman, and then number two, being neurodivergent and not somebody that necessarily operates or processes things in the way that most people do. It's like
okay.
the environment is not set up for me to be successful at all. So I definitely have to find an alternate way to sort of like generate substantial income that feels more aligned. And I don't want to wake up and say, like, oh my God, I have to go to work. Like, I am one of those people that do not subscribe to the thought pattern that like everybody hates their job and you just do what you have to do. I want to love what I do and I want to
Right.
get up excited to work on the things that I have to do and like be passionate about that and build a team of people that I can encourage and build up. Like you speak about pulling down and like pulling people back up to, giving them opportunities as well. That's a major part of what I want to do, what I foresee with the agency and like getting interns and building them up to be strong marketers and then aligning them with jobs if they'd like. So it's a much bigger ecosystem than just myself that I'm thinking about for this agency. So yeah.
Okay. I understand. I do understand. But with that, the financial security, it's the need for financial security, you know, you can think and want to help everybody. Um, but I still hear that you're going to follow your heart. So how are you navigating that?
So I was able to like have some savings set aside so that now when I do have the space to do that, I can sort of really now, I've had my rest period. I'm like closing out that rest period. I can be gung ho on like getting this done because I know for my soul that if I have to go through another interview and pretend to be this person that is going to be the corporate cookie cutter person, and where do I see myself in 5 years? Not here, that's for sure. And I cannot like lie inauthentic
Yeah.
anymore. So I know that like it's really it's time to really put into work and build something, because I'm at the age where it's sort of pivotal. And if I'm thinking about a family and I'm being a mom, I want to be in a position where I'm not like working so hard on building something, and I can focus my energy on that as well.
Okay. You know, you you made me laugh because you was like, I'm not going to be here 5 years. This is not-
Yeah.
and the one of the things we talked about in the beginning was basically how companies hire you because of the knowledge that you have. I had an old colleague who told me, he was like, I was like, I just sometimes I feel like I'm not doing anything. And he was like, Barb, they hire you for your knowledge. He was like, so when the come up, then you use your knowledge. I was like, oh, okay. But it goes back into I can hire you for your knowledge, so I don't have to be knowledgeable. You know, I only have to know a little bit. I don't have to know everything.
Mm.
Um, I'm glad that you have saved money for a time as this. I'm sure it's often we don't know. Okay, we've heard save for a rainy day and things like that, right? But I'm glad that you were able to save, but also able to have you some rest. That rest is important. Often we don't get that rest. We have to go jump and start looking for other jobs. We
Yeah.
don't have that money saved. And excuse me, that is such a blessing to be able to say, okay, I have the energy that I need now to go back out there and create, and not just create, but create for yourself. You
Mm,
know, um,
mm,
you
mm.
don't have to, you can spend your time looking for clients versus spending your time looking for a company that you can work for, you know.
Exactly.
So that is it's just such a beauty. um, you also mentioned how you said you wished you were fired, before. In the past, it was like, oh, I wish I was fired. And you spoke it into existence. Why do you think that feeling was so strong?
It's because I knew that within my bones, like I knew this is not what I was supposed to be doing on a soul level, but on a logical level, I knew that I had a mortgage, like my family depends on me, all of these things. So on my soul level, my soul is telling me like you need to stop doing this because you're like draining your energy. But I could not do that because like logically it wouldn't make sense for me, and like it would be seen as irresponsible. So I almost wanted it to happen to me. So it's not like I left this high paying six-figure job and like
Mhm.
it to do this on my own. Like I was let go. So then I would have sort of the space to do that, what my soul wants me to do, without coming across as irresponsible or like dumb to quit your high paying job to take a break and figure it out. But I wish that I had the courage to be able to like do that on my own and be able to just step away. But I think like society is just like it's hard to let go of your safety net, even though it probably is drowning you.
But let me say this. You said, I wish I had the courage to do it on my own. I think it happens because it's not about us doing it on our own. It's to get us to move. We are often comfortable.
Mm,
We get in. I don't care if you're making $20 an hour. If all your bills is paid, you can go get your nails done or hair done or whatever. You comfortable. And sometimes we don't push for more. So it was needed to for you to have that experience.
yeah.
The other point I want to mention is it was prepared. It was all your steps was ordered. It really was because for you to save the money. knowing that you have a mortgage, knowing that you have other responsibilities, have to take care of a family. You have to take care of yourself. You still want to travel, you still want to do things, you still want to look good, and you were still able to save, right? You also think about your experience and learning different avenues of the field that you enjoy, right? It was preparing you. It's the steps. Your steps was ordered. I promise you, the steps was ordered. And so you were allowed to go through that, get some rest. Like I said, most people don't get that opportunity to rest. They got to get back out there and be like, okay, will you please hire me? We even willing to take the lowest thing possible because we need a job. We know we have responsibilities. So to be able to rest is a beauty. I want you to not think of it like, oh, I wish I would have did this. I wish it's all in alignment for you. You're gonna do an amazing job. I'm so proud to be able to interview you. I want you to know that I am, because the important part about the series is to highlight women at the beginning, at the middle, at the end. There's of course moments where you start questioning yourself, but there's also a lot of joys out of it. And when the moments when you start questioning yourself, go back and think of how your steps have been ordered. You made this out for me. You knew this is what I wanted to do. I wasn't sitting there thinking, oh, I wish I could get fired. I really wish. You wasn't thinking that for no reason.
Mm.
You was thinking that so you could get where you need to go. So the
Wow.
universe opened it up, God opened it up, spirit line opened it up, intuition opened it up, manifesting opened it up. However we want to describe it, opened it up so that you could get where you need to go, so you could do what you needed to do. It was already planned for you. So you just go ahead and do your thing. Keep on. You said you had your little notepads, start putting them back up. Be like, okay, I got this. Look at it on moments where you feel like, oh, this is rough, this is hard. It's
Mm.
it's not as hard as you really think it is. It really is. I mean, I I found you on TikTok. I saw, it was a story about women being entrepreneurs. It was a story about women being laid off, and you commented. And I was like, I'm finna ask her, would she be interested in doing an interview? Because it's important that we highlight. I always say we some bad mama jammas. we we beautiful, we bad, we creative. We have created this the world that we live in. It's the
Mhm.
truth. I mean, if you go look back at every entrepreneur, every inventor, a lot of them is things that we placed on this earth. So I want you to, if you got to put, okay, this was an inventor, this is a creator, this is, you got to put it on. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves. So I just want you to, remember that. And then I also want you to tell us about the marketing agency you're trying to build. What inspired you to create it was you saw that people was encouraging you, you was prepared for the knowledge. But tell us tell us a little bit about the marketing agency.
Yeah, so I mean, I think specifically in the retention side of marketing, I see a lot of gaps within brands where they will invest a lot of money into acquiring new leads or um, just clients overall to their business, but then they get their email and they aren't really doing anything with them. They're not nurturing that relationship, and that's where retention marketing comes into play. So my agency offers not only like email SMS strategy, but loyalty program building, subscription model building, conversion rate optimization for your website. Those are all things that are covered, and it's end to end from like copywriting, graphic design, strategy, execution, analytics. So that's really my specialty that I have perfected or like strategized a formula over the 9 years that I've been doing this. So I think I know how to do it really well, and I've done it across all categories in beauty. So that's why I've decided to sort of create this niche boutique agency targeting those businesses.
Okay, okay. So with building your boutique um, marketing agency, what's the difference for being in doing this and being in those corporate marketing rooms?
Um, so I think the difference is there can be more strategic focus. I think in the broader corporate rooms, there's sometimes come different ideas and then it gets sort of distracted and people lose focus on what we're trying to really impact and what our KPIs are, like what are we really striving towards? Whereas within an agency, I'm able to be hyper focused on really impacting these key performance indicators for the business.
Okay, okay. Do you look at corporate America, where you are now, and feel like I'm finally investing in myself? Oh, what does it feel like to feel like I'm finally doing something for me outside of education, you know?
Yeah.
How does that feel?
So a part of it is like I am excited and I feel like I'm finally choosing myself and really prioritizing the things that feel aligned with myself. And then transparently, another part of me is like, is this really the end of it? Or am I gonna fail and have to go back to corporate or like gonna try to find like a high so it's a mix of like excitement and also fear. And I think I just need to lean more into believing that this is going to work out. And if it isn't necessarily this, I will refine it into something else that does work for me, that I am still able to independently generate income without relying on corporate. But there is still that fear in the back of my head that I will have to return to that. And I think that's what I need to just like lessen and focus more on the positive aspect of it.
Okay. Uh, it goes back into get them sticky pads up, them notepads up. Put them all over the place. At the door when you're walking out, remembering I'm doing this for a reason. On your computer, I'm doing this for a reason. It's not just for you, as you already said. It's for other people to be able to pull other people up. But this is yours, you know. So I want you to remember that. As a Black woman in the corporate culture, and especially as women and someone advocating for yourself, tell me, what did you learn about the corporate culture that you want to instill in your business, or something that you learned that you didn't agree with and you want to instill in your own marketing agency?
Yeah. So I think in corporate, I saw a lot of the politics, a lot of the company culture that is really just biases and stereotypes that they feel comfortable interacting with, either people that are similar to them or have been in similar rooms, and that makes it feel more familiar for them to communicate. And when you have someone in the room that is not necessarily of the same background or has the same familiarity with like certain lingo or different things like that, I can see how that can be alienating and want to make someone maybe shrink and be afraid to share their ideas because they would feel judged because like they're the one that sticks out in the room. For me, building my agency, I definitely want to make it as inclusive as possible for everyone that is working with me. Um, Everyone from every background, I want to feel like welcome to come in and share their ideas and put up their pitches that they have without feeling judged or feel like someone is going to roll their eyes at their ideas or like, you know, it'll be deemed as like not helpful or impactful. So definitely creating a culture of collaboration and transparency and inclusivity, and not just on paper because it's a movement, but at the root and core of the business.
Okay, okay. What advice would you give to women who are seeing like the red flags that you mentioned, um, to not be afraid to leave to start out on their own?
Honestly, my advice would be to be strategic and try to have some funds that you stash away, because I do know there are people that, they get into the situation. It's I am at a position where I am blessed and I'm in like a favorable position, but I know if not, it could be very stressful. So I would tell younger me or anyone in a similar situation to try to be strategic with your finances so that you are not 100% reliant on this job as your source of income should anything happen. And so you'll also have more confidence to go out and bet on yourself because of that. Because honestly, without that, I don't know that I would be feeling as calm as I am now. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was meant for you to feel calm. It was. It was meant for you to feel calm because you're right. Like I said, you don't have it together. You'd be like, okay,
mhm,
can you got a job at McDonald's?
yeah,
You
I was
you not, and I'm not putting down anybody who has to do that, but I will say that it can lead you to making some decisions because of fear. You feel like, okay, I can't take it, or I don't know how I'm gonna pay this water bill, or the lights might go off, whatever, so it'll start making you do things that's not necessarily in alignment for where you want to go because we have not prepared ourselves for it. But these steps have been ordered for you, so we're grateful for that. um Tell me this, knowing that Unbossed and Unbothered is a series about Black women who's choosing entrepreneurship, have either got laid off or walked away from their jobs. Tell me, what does it mean to you today?
to me, it is a safe space of gratitude and also encouragement. So even to be able to have this conversation with you and know that you started this movement, you have spoken with so many other entrepreneurs that are similar to me or have gone through similar stories, and they're also Black women and facing the same struggles that I have. And they are making it and being successful. I think it's really good to have that representation and have proof in your brain to say, okay, well, if this person did it, she was going through this, like I can do this too. So that person and this platform is providing that evidence that it is possible to myself, and then hopefully I can be that to somebody else. And eventually this will become a much larger movement of us stimulating the economy within our spaces so that we can rise up and, be successful. We already are, but even independently, so without these
Right.
that are not respecting us. So I think it's an amazing platform. And even being able to have this conversation, it's helping reaffirm, yes, I can do this, I can make this successful. Like, don't listen to the fears. So I am super grateful for you to, host me here and even reaching out. So, you.
Thank you. Now I'll ask you this. Looking ahead at your own vision, what do you hold for yourself? What do you expect your business to look like? What do you expect Khandeece to look like in the next few years?
In the next few years, I have visualized this so many times even before now, but definitely full business mogul mode in terms of driving to my office and or even getting driven to my office and checking out what's happening, checking on like our business, making sure everything is running correctly, being there and being present and like building these campaigns. But then maybe I have to leave to go work on another campaign on set somewhere, and then we're on a panel speaking about like how we build these spaces or like opportunities for our community. And hosting different events in the community for Black women and wellness, and really fully aligned in a life that I am excited to get up every morning and just like live my life and say like, wow, like what are we gonna do today? So that feeling of like joy and excitement to go in and day out of my life and live and make an impact that feels like it means something to me, and then also build these relationships with people that I feel seen and I can see them. I think that would be the ideal scenario for me.
Oh, beautiful. That's right, girl. Reach for the stars. I'm proud of you. If you could go back and talk to your younger self on your first day of the layoff, working on the unstable company, what would you say?
Buckle up. It's
Okay,
an
okay.
interesting 3 months. So just fasten your seatbelt and ride the wave. Don't push yourself too much because none of it matters anyway. So
Mhm. Okay. Well, I thank you so much. I greatly appreciate the interview. Thank you for being my guest, for humbly taking my request and saying, please. But I am so grateful for you. I am proud of you. I wish you the world of success. Don't forget them post-it notes. Remember to believe in yourself. If you ever have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to me. The other women that I've interviewed, if you have some questions for them, reach out to me and I can connect you with them. Like I said, I don't want this series to be just me talking to women. I want women to be able to collab together. I want us to really build a community. It's important that we see each other and
mhm.
recognize, okay, this person has this strength that I want to adapt or I want to learn. Let me reach out to them. This person has been through this, or they know how to do this, or they're trying to get where I'm at. Let me reach out and help them. So I really want to tell you, you do amazing. You be great. You love on yourself. Don't forget who you are, what you've been made of, and always look at the path that has been reared for you. Look at the path that is coming for you, the path that was behind you. Things happen for a reason, and I always believe that. Sometimes it's things that we don't like, but it helped us to where we are today.
Yeah.
So if like I said, if you need me, I'm right here.
I want to thank you again for creating this platform, and thank you for your time and for inviting me here.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, bye bye.